Have you ever walked into a grocery store and found yourself hypnotized by the warm bread and muffins right at the entrance? Or noticed how the most expensive or unnecessary items are placed right at eye level on grocery shelves? These are no accident. It's a clever marketing trick designed to catch your attention and make you buy on impulse. Psychologically, this works because of what's called the freshness illusion. Your brain smells that warm, yeasty goodness and instantly assumes it's freshly baked, making you want to grab a loaf or two. In this video, we'll uncover 10 grocery items that are just plain stupid to buy and smarter choices that keep you in control. Make sure to watch until the end. 1. Bottled water. Here's a disturbing truth. For every $2 you pay for a bottle of water, the water inside that bottle costs the company just 5 cents to produce. If you do the math, you'll realize these manufacturers are making a profit of around 4,000% on every bottle you buy. Let's put this in perspective. If you drink one bottle of water every day for a year, you could easily spend between $183 and $913, depending on the brand and where you live. Now compare that to tap water, which costs just a few cents for an entire gallon. In fact, you could drink tap water all year for just a few dollars. That's a massive gap that's hard to ignore, considering that over 90% of Americans have access to safe, clean tap water at home. That means for most people, bottled water isn't a necessity, it's a choice. Come to think of it, bottled water might not even be safer than tap water. In fact, tap water in the US is strictly regulated. Water utilities are required to test their water regularly and publish annual water quality reports for the public. If there's ever a problem, they have to notify everyone right away. Bottled water companies, on the other hand, don't have to follow such strict rules. They only have to tell you about water quality issues if they get caught breaking the rules, which doesn't happen very often because testing is much less frequent. Bottled water can actually contain more contaminants than tap water. Studies have found that between 10% and 78% of bottled water samples contain things like microplastics and chemicals from the plastic bottles themselves, such as BPA and phthalates. As a matter of fact, a recent study found that a single liter of bottled water can contain about 240,000 plastic particles, most of them so tiny they can slip into your bloodstream and reach your organs. The long-term health effects of these particles are still being studied, but early research suggests they could cause problems for your immune system and even change the way your body handles fat. 2. Name brand cereals. What if I told you that name brand cereals usually cost a lot more, about 40% to 60% more, than their generic counterparts? That's a huge difference. If you eat cereal regularly, say 2 boxes a week for a whole year, switching to store brands could save you over $300. The best part is that when you look at what's actually inside the box, the nutrition facts are almost the same. Both name brand and store brand cereals usually have similar amounts of sugar, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. For example, a popular Honey Nut cereal from a store brand might have 9 grams of sugar per serving, while the name brand version has 12 grams. So the cheaper cereal can even be healthier in some cases. Fiber content, which is important for digestion, is also pretty much equal between the two. Both types often have 3 to 7 grams of fiber, depending on the cereal type. Plus, they often come from the same factories and use nearly identical ingredients lists. Sometimes the only difference is the packaging and the brand name slapped on the box. But why do people still buy the expensive name brands? Part of it is marketing. Big cereal companies spend tons of money on ads, fancy packaging, and celebrity endorsements. All that costs money, and guess who pays for it? You, the shopper. You're basically paying extra for the brand's image, not for better quality or nutrition. Also, some people believe the name brand cereals taste better, but blind taste tests show that many people can't even tell the difference, or they like the store brand just as much. 3rd, baked goods from the grocery store bakery. Here's what you probably don't know. Many baked goods from the grocery store bakery, like bread, cakes, muffins, and pastries you see immediately when you walk in, are not freshly baked on site. Instead, they're often made somewhere else, frozen, shipped to the store, and then just reheated before being put on display. Big bakeries produce large batches, freeze them, and send them out to hundreds or thousands of stores. The stores then just warm them up quickly. This method saves money on labor and reduces waste because they can control exactly how much gets sent to each location. However, reheated baked goods usually don't taste as fresh or delicious as truly fresh ones. They can be drier or less fluffy, but the stores rely on your love for convenience and the smell of fresh baked bread to keep you buying. Psychologically, this works because of what's called the freshness illusion. When you see warm bread or muffins in the bakery section, your brain assumes they're freshly made. The smell, the look, it tricks you into thinking you're getting something special. Plus, seeing these items right at the front of the store makes you want to grab them impulsively. People often buy more than they planned because the bakery smells and displays are designed to catch your attention. This is why bakery items are some of the biggest impulse buys in grocery stores. However, because these items are often expensive and not truly fresh, many people regret buying them. In fact, bakery items like bread and pastries are ranked high on lists of most wasted foods in the US and UK. 5. Bottled juices. Bottled juices are usually way more expensive than making juice at home. Think about it. If you buy a big bottle of orange juice at the store, it might cost you around $4 or $5 for about a liter. But if you buy fresh oranges and squeeze the juice yourself, the cost can be much lower, sometimes even half the price or less. That's because when companies sell bottled juice, they add costs for packaging, transportation, marketing, and sometimes even extra sugar or preservatives. So you're paying a lot more just for the convenience of having it ready to drink. Now add that to the fact that some bottled juices have up to 30% added sugar, which is way more than what you get from fresh fruit. That means you're drinking a sugary drink that can pack as many calories as a soda, but it's disguised as something healthy. Pentra cookies. Cookies are loaded with sugar and have very little nutritional value. They don't give you much energy that lasts or any important vitamins or minerals your body needs to stay healthy. In fact, eating too many sugary snacks can lead to problems like weight gain, tooth decay, and even increase your risk for diseases like diabetes. For example, the average box of Girl Scout cookies contains about 10 to 15 grams of sugar per serving, which is a big chunk of the daily recommended sugar limit. So while they taste good, these cookies aren't doing your body any favors. There's also a psychological trick going on when you buy these cookies. Because they're tied to a cause, the Girl Scouts, people feel good about buying them. It's like you're supporting a good cause, so you don't mind paying more. Marketers call this the feel-good purchase effect. It goes without saying that the excitement of limited-time sales and the nostalgia around these cookies make people want to buy more, even if it's not necessary. If you think about it, that $5 or $6 you spend on one box of cookies could buy ingredients to bake your own cookies at home. Homemade cookies can be much cheaper because you buy ingredients in bulk and control how much sugar and fat go in. 6. Prepared meats. Prepared meats are actually some of the most expensive types of meat you can buy. When compared to raw cuts like a whole chicken breast, a steak, or a pork chop, prepared meats cost significantly more per pound. In fact, studies show that prepared meats can be anywhere from 30% to 100% pricier than raw meat. And to think that, despite the higher price, they spoil much faster than raw meat. That's a deal breaker if you ask me. Raw meat, if stored properly, can last a few days to a week in the fridge. Prepared meats, on the other hand, often have a shelf life of just a few days. Because once meat is sliced, cooked, or packaged in these ready-to-eat forms, it's exposed to more air and bacteria, which speeds up spoilage. So if you don't eat it quickly, it goes bad. And guess what? That means a lot of people end up throwing it away. Food waste experts rank prepared meats among the top 10 most wasted grocery items. In the US alone, millions of pounds of prepared meats are tossed out every year because they spoil before people can finish them. 7. Bananas. Bananas are one of the most popular fruits in the world, and it's super easy to see why. They're sweet, soft, and you don't even need a knife to eat them. Just peel and enjoy. But bananas are also one of the most wasted foods on the planet. Seriously, the numbers are kind of shocking. In the United States, bananas are a top contender in the Food Waste Olympics. According to the National Resources Defense Council, bananas are consistently ranked in the top 5 most wasted grocery items in American households. In fact, some studies say bananas are the #1 most wasted fruit in the US. Every year, Americans waste over 5 billion bananas. That's enough bananas to circle the earth almost 20 times if you line them up end to end. It's wild. So, why do so many bananas go to waste? The main villain here is over-ripening. Bananas start out green, then turn yellow, and before you know it, they're covered in brown spots. Bananas ripen faster when they're stored together. That's because bananas release a gas called ethylene, which speeds up the ripening process. If you put a bunch of bananas in a bowl, they'll all ripen at the same time, and if you don't eat them quickly enough, you end up with a pile of brown bananas. But the good news is, there are lots of ways to stop wasting bananas. You can freeze overripe bananas and use them in smoothies or banana bread. You can store bananas away from other fruits to slow down the ripening process. 8. Fresh vegetables. Prices for fresh vegetables don't stay the same all year round. They go up and down depending on several reasons. One big reason is supply chain issues. This means the process of growing, harvesting, transporting, and selling vegetables faces problems like bad weather, higher fuel costs, or fewer workers. So stores charge more and you end up paying extra for less. Here's where psychology kicks in. When you see fresh, colorful vegetables in the store, your brain often tells you, "This is healthy, I should buy it." That's true, but stores also use tricks to make you want to buy more expensive or fancy veggies. For example, out-of-season vegetables like asparagus or artichokes are often priced way higher because they have to be imported or grown in special conditions. Your brain might think, "I want to be healthy and trendy," so you buy them even if they cost much more than regular carrots or potatoes. This is called the premium product effect, where people pay extra just because something seems special or rare. So what happens if you keep buying expensive, out-of-season, or specialty vegetables? Over time, it adds up to a lot of wasted money. Instead of spending $5 on a small bunch of asparagus, you could buy a bigger, more filling bag of potatoes or carrots that cost less and last longer. Plus, many cheaper vegetables have just as many nutrients. For example, carrots and potatoes provide vitamins and fiber, but cost a fraction of fancy veggies. 9. Spring mix and salad greens. Spring mix and salad greens have become a hot topic lately, especially when you look at how their prices have changed and what that means for people shopping for food. Imagine going to the store and picking up a bag of spring mix or salad greens. Not so long ago, that bag might have cost you around $3.49, but now it often costs over $4.49. It might not sound like much at first, but when you think about how many people buy these greens every week, it adds up to a lot of extra money being spent. This price increase is part of a bigger story about how fresh vegetables, especially leafy greens, have become more expensive over the past few years. So why are these prices going up? Well, a lot of it comes down to how these greens are grown and sold. Growing salad greens isn't as simple as planting a seed and waiting. These plants are delicate and need the right weather, soil, and care. If the weather is bad, too hot, too cold, or too wet, it can hurt the crops. And Basic Economics 101 teaches us that when supply drops but demand stays the same or grows, prices go up. Buying whole heads of lettuce instead of prepackaged salad mixes can save a lot of money. A whole head might cost around $1.50 to $2, and you get more greens for your money. Plus, you can cut and wash it yourself, which some people actually prefer. 10th, instant noodles. Instant noodles are loaded with something called sodium. Sodium is basically salt, and while our bodies need a little salt to work properly, too much of it can be really bad. The average pack of instant noodles contains around 800 to 1,200 milligrams of sodium. To put that in perspective, the American Heart Association recommends that teenagers and adults eat no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, and ideally less than 1,500 milligrams. So just one pack of noodles can give you more than half of your daily limit. Imagine eating that every day. Over time, this can lead to high blood pressure, which is a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke, the #1 and #2 killers worldwide. And that's not all. They're also packed with preservatives and artificial flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, MSG. These chemicals are added to make the noodles taste good and last longer on the shelf. However, studies have shown that consuming too many preservatives and additives can mess with your gut health cause headaches, and even affect your mood and concentration. Alternatively, instead of grabbing that pack of noodles, try cooking whole grains like brown rice or quinoa. These grains are packed with fiber, vitamins, and minerals that your body actually needs. So have you ever fallen for the freshness illusion or paid extra just for a brand name? Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments. And if you want more insider secrets, check out our previous video where ex-Costco employees reveal the items you should never buy at their store. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help others avoid common grocery store traps.